once was a raindrop. His name was Randy, Randy the raindrop. He was a very old raindrop living alone in the Indian Ocean, but he was happy because he had many friends at his local senior center. One day, he was playing bingo with his friends at the senior center when it happens again. He was evaporated, and that's where his story begins. He was about to win when he noticed the water around him getting gradually warmer. However, he just ignored it and kept listening for the number he needed to be called. But sure enough, he slowly began to rise and felt his life better. After he reached the surface, he still quickly ascended towards the sky. Once he went even higher, he began to feel a bit heavier again, and a dense fog of other condensing raindrops just like him appeared around him. He knew from past experience that he had been condensed and became part of a cloud. He and the other raindrops in the cloud greeted each other, exchanged stories, and got to know each other. But little did they know that while they were mingling, the cloud they were in was slowly being blown north to the coast. It had been a few days since he had met his new friends when he realized the air and condensed raindrops around him getting a bit chilly. He looked down and saw that all his friends were in the sky over a huge mountain range. They all began to become a little bit heavier, and eventually they rapidly fell towards the huge pointing mountain. As they were plummeting, all they could think to do was brace themselves for the potentially painful impact that awaited them. They all fell on the mountain with loud smacks because the mountain was very rocky. Next, they rapidly slid down the mountain, sliding past the slippery rock. They slid down further and further until after a while they ended up in a big lake. They were now in a drainage basin. While in the drainage basin, Randy noticed that some of his friends he had made in the cloud were missing. He thought about it and concluded that they must have hit the ground on the other side of the pointy part of the mountain, slid in the other direction, and ended up in another drainage basin. Although he'd grown somewhat close to those friends in the few short days they were with each other, he had to and eventually did get over it. After all, he and the rest of them were in a large lake with plenty of nice raindrops to make friends with, and make friends he did. One day, he and a few of his new friends heard about a bingo tournament going on at the community center. They simply could not resist. The community center was way towards the bottom of the basin. They ran as fast as they could, which was not very fast at all, to the bottom. They were waiting in line to sign up when they slowly began to sink into the soft, wet, soil-filled ground. It suddenly occurred to them that they were percolating. But no matter how hard they tried to free themselves, they just kept sinking into the loose ground. Once they were completely submerged into the ground, they realized that they were not alone under there. There were many more percolating raindrops in the soil than they ever thought. After a few days of slowly sinking deeper and deeper into the dark, wet earth, there was a major rush of new raindrops just beginning to percolate that flushed Randy and his friends speedily through the ground until they met a peculiarly large wall of groundwater quickly rushing up to the surface. The big rush of water pushed them and many other raindrops into the wall of water. They shot straight up to the surface and found themselves in a large, fast, spring-fed river. After a few days of rushing through the white-water river, they found themselves back in the still, calm Indian Ocean. He went straight back to the senior center and introduced all his new friends to his old friends. They all played a collective game of bingo together and had a lot of fun. If you think Randy's story ends here, then you are mistaken, because Randy's story is an endless cycle that will keep repeating itself till the end of time. Yay!